All right, here it is. Rutabaga, a drum roll, please.
Drum roll, because I have fewer questions.
You have fewer questions,
You've been working on this explanation.
I've been working on this explanation. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the steering currents in the atmosphere. And if you've ever looked at a topographical map, it shows high areas that you would hike and low areas. And so there are valleys and there are mountains. And in the atmosphere, it's the same thing. There are valleys and there are mountains. And the winds tend to flow around these valleys and mountains. This out here to the east, that is a strong blocking high. And the winds are going around that blocking high like that. In fact, they kept Irma on that forecast track way down there. That blocking high just pushed and pushed and pushed and kept Irma down there. Now coming to the edge of the blocking high, there's the edge of it right there. That's the edge. There is another blocking high right over here. This one not as strong, but this area right in here, you can see this line comes up and goes like that. This line comes up and goes like that. This looks like a valley, or what we call a break in the block. So, or a break in the ridge, sometimes we call it. I'm calling it a break in the block. So this here is an opportunity for Irma to come north. The difficulty is that this isn't a fixed map. This isn't like, oh, well, that's easy. It's going to go here and here and here and here. All of this stuff is moving. It's all changing in time. There's waves in the jet stream coming down. They're pushing against the block. The block retreats. Patterns are changing and evolving. So basically, we've got this stick in a current, a stream, and we're trying to predict what happens down here, but we're also moving the river, changing the shape of the river, which makes it very, very difficult with any good accuracy to predict exactly where the storm is going to go. So I'm going to let it go forward in time here through the forecast track, and you'll see all these lines kind of squiggling around and stuff like this. The block actually opens up some. So right now, if the block stayed like this, you might say, wow, it's going to kind of go over here and up here in the Gulf. Watch out in the Panhandle. But watch what happens to this line right here. It retreats. Okay, ready? Here we go. And there. So now the block is opened up even more. There's opportunity to go north. There's the storm coming up through the block. Now it's creating its own big low pressure area in the atmosphere. But really the skill is trying to predict how the storm will go through that block. And as you can see, these are big, big atmospheric features here. So, but for us living here, 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles, 50 miles, all of that makes a big difference with the hurricane because the hurricane is so intense in the core and the winds spread out. So it's that intense part we want to keep away, and maybe the difference of 50 miles will keep the destructive force of the wind out of Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. But 50 miles either way, and the 50 miles is about that big on this map. It's not that big. So that's kind of my that's my explanation there. I did it, and hopefully that was something that everybody was able to get something out of.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and I can see why it's so complicated to figure out, let alone explain on a level that laymen like us can really understand why it shifts and turns, and why people keep asking when is the turn going to happen.
Right.